In this After Effects tutorial, I'll show you how to animate this gaming title intro. Hi guys, my name is Manuel. We create all three parts: the menu, the explosion, and the logo animation itself. Alright, let's get started. As always, we need a new comp. We name it Title Animation, 1920 by 1080 pixels. First of all, we add a new solid. Name it Background. Color doesn't matter. We head over to the Effects and Presets window and add a gradient ramp. Set it to radial ramp. We move the start of the ramp to the center. The end, somewhere outside the screen. Start color, a gray purple, and color, a very dark blue, kind of retro. And we add lots of ramp scatter to avoid color bending. Let's start with the first scene. And double-click on the rectangle tool with no layer selected, and name the layer Frame. We open the rectangle path property and disable constraint proportions. Set the size to 200 by 200 pixels. Then we add round corners. We actually could have used a rounded rectangle as well. White stroke and fill, stroke width 6 pixels. Then we set the fill opacity to 15%. With no layer selected, we double-click on the Polystar tool, name the layer Stop Button. Set points to 4, rotation to 45 degrees, outer radius to 75, and we add round corners again. We change the fill into a gradient fill, going from red to pink. Then we adjust the color ramp by moving these two blue handles, and no stroke. We grab the title tool and add some text below the frame. Vox Bold is available on Adobe fonts. Size 50 pixels. We center the text and we align the text layer horizontally. Then we duplicate the stop button, change the name into start button, and duplicate the text layer. We take the two layers and move them to the left, holding shift. Change the text into Let's Play. You probably were wondering why I was using a Polystar shape instead of a rectangle. It allows us to easily change the shape. Points 3. Rotation 90 degrees, outer radius 80. And we change the gradient colors into green and yellow. And here's our play button. Let's take a quick moment and play with an awesome extension and 100 logo animations ready for you to use. Quickly preview them, easy to customize. It saves you hours and hours of time. I love the liquid ones, so many details. Apply the one you want to use to a comp. Go into the template comp, replace the logo, and you're basically ready to go. Make sure to click the link in the description and check out the Sundark 100 Logo Experts pack. It's also a great way to support my channel. So thanks guys! Alright, let's slightly adjust the position of the button. We add an adjustment layer, name it POS, position, and link the 4 layers to it. We set a position keyframe at 2 frames. Then at 12 frames, we move the play button into the frame. We open the graph editor, make sure snap is activated and edit speed graph is selected. And slow down the beginning and end of the animation. We want both buttons to be hidden outside the frame though. Therefore, we duplicate the frame layer. Change the name into frame mask. Set the fill opacity to 100% and hide it. We select the stop button and add a set matte effect. Take the mask from the frame mask layer, copy it and paste it to the play button. We select the 2 text layers, open the opacity properties, set keyframes at 2 and 9 frames, and fade out. Ready? Well, Let's Play fades in. First scene done. Awesome. We select all layers except the background layer and move the endpoint to 16 frames. Then we duplicate the frame mask layer and move it up and to 16 frames. Set a scale keyframe, add 16 frames. Bring scale to 95% at 19 frames. Back to 100 at 21 frames. And we set an opacity keyframe. At 25 frames we set scale to 290, opacity to 0. Alright, let's add some speed lines. With no layer selected, we grab the pen tool and draw a line from somewhere right above the center to the upper right corner, which is the longest distance to the screen edge. Stroke width 24 pixels. We name it speedline 1. Set the start point at 22 frames. The end point at 34 frames. We go into stroke, then taper and set the start length to 100%. Let's close some of these properties again. Then we add trim paths. And set end to 0, set a keyframe at 22 frames. At 26 frames we set a start keyframe. Set the end to 75%. At 29 frames we set the start to 25%, the end to 100. At 33 frames the start to 100 as well. Then we duplicate the layer a few times and rotate the speed lines. And finally offset them by a few frames. Whoa, awesome! If you like this video so far, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Thanks very much! Let's work on the logo animation. We use the title tool again, size 100 pixels this time, to add our main title, Gaming. We center the text and vertically center the layer. And we move the layer just above the center of the screen. We add the subtitle, intro title in my case, size 50 pixels. Vertically centered below the main title. Then we use the anchor point tool to move the anchor points of the two layers to the center. They should snap. With no layer selected, we double click on the Polystar tool again to create a triangle. Points 3, rotation 60, outer radius 120. Then we add round corners and move it below the subtitle. Let's name it Logo Shape Small. Color doesn't matter, we add a gradient ramp on top. Set the start and end of the ramp diagonal. Start color green. End color red. Some adjustments and lots of ramp scatter. Awesome! I love the color combination. We use the anchor point tool again and move the anchor point to the center. Then we duplicate the shape, name it Logo Shape Big. Go into the Polystar Path property and set the rotation to 120 degrees. Outer radius to 385. We hide the fill and shrink the stroke to 12 pixels. Let's actually increase the radius of the small shape a little and move it slightly down. With the big shape selected, we grab the rectangle tool, choose Create Mask, and add a mask around the main title to hide the shape behind the text. We set the blending mode to Subtract. Awesome! And that's what we're gonna animate now. First, we move all the start points to 36 frames for now. We select the main title, open the scale property and set the scale to around 2300% at the beginning. Add a keyframe, we need to move it up, and then we scale it back to 100% at 39 frames, to 95% at 42 frames, then to 100 again at 45 frames. We set the scale of the subtitle to 0 at 40 frames, don't forget to add a keyframe, to 110% at 45 frames, to 100 at 48 frames. We set the scale of the big shape to 100 at 39 frames. Adjust the start point, 110% at 43 frames. Back to 100 again at 46 frames. The small shape, we set scale to 0 at 36 frames, add a keyframe. Rotation 90 degrees. And a keyframe of course. At 42 frames, scale is 100. Rotation 0. We quickly select the rotation keyframes and slow down the end in the graph editor. Awesome! Organic animations. Let's add one last layer of details. We duplicate the logo shape small, move it down, and the beginning to 22 frames. Delete all keyframes, move the endpoint to 35 frames. Let's change the label color into yellow for a change. Then we set a position, rotation and scale keyframe at the beginning. Move the tiny shape to the center, scale is 0, rotation 90 degrees. At 34 frames, we scale it up to 800%, rotation 270 degrees, and move it almost out of the screen. Finally, we select all keyframes and slow down the beginnings and move the handles to the right as far as possible. Awesome! Not bad, right? We add some more shapes. Remember, pretty easy by changing the number of points in the polystar path. Then we reuse these shapes for the last scene. I move them outwards to the screen edges. I animated the position, rotation and scale. The animations start fast, like an explosion. Then they slow down. And finally, we add an adjustment layer and add noise. Amount 10%. No color noise. On the left side, I've added some videos you might like. Subscribe to my channel on the right side and hit the bell, cause you don't want to miss my next video. And don't forget to check the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye guys!